Learning about how weird the history of the world is by reading Wikipedia articles, and this is one of them about the dancing plague of 1518. So, the dancing plague of 1518, or the dance epidemic of 1518, was a case of dancing mania that occurred in modern day France in the Holy Roman Empire from July 1518 to September 1518. Somewhere between 50 and 400 people took to dancing for weeks. There are many theories behind the phenomenon, the most popular being stress-induced mass hysteria suggested by John Waller. Other theories include ergot, it looks like it's a type of fungi, or religious explanations. There is controversy concerning the number of deaths. There's not controversy that there were deaths from dancing mania, just how many there were, I guess. The outbreak began in July 1518 when a woman called Frau Trophée began to dance fervently and uncontrollably in a street in Strasbourg. She kept dancing for weeks, constantly, and soon 36 others joined in. By August, the dancing plague had claimed 400 victims. Dancers were beginning to collapse. It said that some even died from a stroke or a heart attack. No one knew what caused the reaction, which meant no one understood how to remedy it. By early September, the outbreak began to subside when the dancers were sent to a mountain shrine to pray for absolution. I mean, to be fair, it's as good of a solution as any. I guess at that point, it got 400 people dancing themselves to death in the street. This is a real thing. This really happened. Historical documents, including physician notes, cathedral sermons, local and regional chronicles, and even notes issued by the Strasbourg City Council, are clear that the victims danced. Take note, everybody. There is no controversy about whether the dancing occurred. Just the deaths seem to be in question. It's not known why. Historical sources agree that there was an outbreak of dancing after a single woman started dancing, and the dancing did not seem to die down. It lasted for such a long time that even attracted the attention of the authorities until the council gave up authority to the physicians who prescribed the afflicted to dance themselves free of it. This is good advice. We should do this more in modern medicine. When we're stumped, we should dance ourselves free of it. That's solid. There are claims that the guild halls were refurbished to accommodate the dancing, as well as musicians and strong people to help keep those dancing with the dancing mania to stay upright. That's, necessary braces to make sure they can dance themselves free of it, I suppose. This does track logically. It backfired. That's unfortunate. And the council was forced to ban public dancing. As people danced in fear, it was a punishment from Saint Vitus, and to be free of sin. Many joined in on the dancing epidemic. The council went as far as to ban music as well. So no music and no dancing. People were coming along in fear. That's interesting and kind of hilarious. Those who danced were then ordered to go to the shrine of Saint Vitus, wore red shoes that were sprinkled with holy water, and had painted crosses on the tops and the soles, as one does. They also had to hold small crosses in their hands, and incense and Latin incantations were part of this ritual. Apparently, forgiven by Vitus, word was spread of a successful ritual and the dancing plague had ended. Okay. Events similar to this are said to have occurred throughout the medieval age, including 11th century in Saxony, where it was believed to be the result of divine judgment. In 15th century Italy, a woman was bitten by a tarantula, the venom making her dance convulsively. Whoa. The only way to cure the bite was to shimmy and have the right sort of music available. There's so much good medical advice in this article, so I'd recommend it. That was an accepted remedy by scholars, I can't even say that name. Contemporaneous explanations included demonic possession and overheated blood. Yep. On the veracity of the deaths, controversy exists over whether people ultimately danced to their deaths. Some sources claim that for a period the plague killed around 15 people per day, but the sources of the city of Strasbourg at the time of the events did not mention the number of deaths, or even if there were fatalities. There don't appear to be any sources related to the events that take note of any fatalities. Ned Pennant Ria also claims that the final death toll is not known, but if the claims of 15 people dying per day were true, then the toll could be into the hundreds. The main source for the claim is John Waller, who's written several journal articles on the subject, and the book A Time to Dance, A Time to Die, The Extraordinary Story of the Dancing Plague of 1518. I'm definitely checking that out. The sources cited by Waller that mentioned deaths were all from later accounts of the events. There's also uncertainty around the identity of the initial dancer, either an unnamed woman or Frau Trophée, and the number of dancers involved, somewhere between 50 and 400. Of the 6 chronicle accounts, 4 support Lady Trophée as the first dancer. So she seems to be the front runner. Modern theories about this. Food poisoning. Some believe the dancing could have been brought on by food poisoning caused by toxic and psychoactive chemical products of ergot fungi, which grows commonly on grains such as rye used for baking bread. Ergotamine is the main psychoactive product of the fungi. It's structurally related to the drug this. LSD. Okay. It's structurally related to LSD. So they were just tripping and dancing in the street. That actually makes a lot of sense. And the substance from which LSD 25 was originally synthesized. The same fungus has also been implicated in other major historical anomalies, including the Salem witch trials. The Lancet, John Waller argues that this theory does not seem tenable, since it's unlikely that those poisoned by ergot could have danced for days at a time, nor would so many people have reacted to its psychotropic chemicals in the same way. The ergotism theory also fails to explain why almost every outbreak occurred somewhere along the Rhine and Moselle rivers, areas linked to water but with quite different climates and crops. Another theory is stress-induced mass hysteria. Sounds very human. This could have been an example of a fully developed cases of psychogenic movement disorder happening in mass hysteria or mass psychogenic illness, which involves many individuals suddenly exhibiting the same bizarre behavior. The behavior spreads rapidly and broadly in an epidemic pattern. This kind of comportment could have been caused by elevated levels of psychological stress, caused by the ruthless years, even by the rough standards of the early modern period. The people of Alsace were suffering. That's the place in France. It's probably not pronounced that way because it's French. Waller speculates that dancing was stress-induced psychosis on a mass level, since the region where the people danced was riddled with starvation and disease, and the inhabitants tended to be superstitious. 7 other cases of dancing plague were reported in the same region during the medieval era. There is an entire page just for dancing plague, so we'll check that out for sure. The psychogenic illness could have created a chorea, from the Greek meaning to dance, situation comprising random and intricate unintentional movements that fit from body part to body part. Diverse choreas, here's some examples of those, were labeled in the Middle Ages, referring to the independent epidemics of dancing mania that happened in Central Europe, particularly at the time of the plague. And this has been covered a little bit. Jonathan Glazer made a 2020 short film, is also the inspiration behind the song Choreomania. The book series, A Collection of Utter Speculation, released the title The Dancing Plague, A Collection of Utter Speculation in 2022. It's a fictional account. The song Dance Macabre by the Swedish rock band Ghost was made. The 2023 novel The Dance Tree is a fictionalized version of the summer of 1518 in Strasbourg. The event was also featured as part of the first season of Watcher Entertainment's Puppet History in the episode The Dancing Plague. And that's it. I have learned a lot today. The Dancing Plague of 1518, everybody. Let's keep learning more weird stuff from Wiki.